Hey everyone, morning. Welcome to the King Angel Show. And if you're returning, welcome back. King Angel, a San Francisco Bay Area live streamer and content creator here on YouTube and Twitch, also on Facebook. Shout out to all those platforms I just mentioned. How's it going? Full weekend. Wow. Glad to be here. Very happy. It's the King Angel Show. Favorite place to be. We do reviews, live streams, discussions about a plethora of topics that I'm interested in. True crime, murder mystery, arts, art movement, space, science. We read the news. A little bit of everything. I'm so happy to be here. I will say though, there will be obviously, I guess things changing soon. I'm not 100% sure. I'll be able to confirm maybe by Friday, but yeah, I might have to do some schedule changings when it comes to live streams and whatnot, because I mean, gotta make that money somehow. Looking forward to it, actually. I feel well rested. I'm good. I'm looking forward to going back into the workforce. I mean, eventually I want to continue on with my own business, but yeah, fortunately, the current financial situation in the country / me kind of leads me to having to get a job. But nonetheless, I'm happy to be here. Today's Coffee, the News, and Us. What is it, episode 47 in total? And I just put episodes on them because just to have a kind of a numeration on them. So obviously started off with 1. We're on 47 now, but that encompasses all of the live streams that I started counting. So Coffee, the News, and Us, Random Topic Day, they're all mixed into that set of numbers. So yeah, that's why we are on episode 47. And I actually have it's really interesting news that happened about 2 days ago. And we're going to start with that first, and then we'll move on to any other topic that we find, any article that we see that is interesting and whatnot. But specifically this one that we're going to start with, it's worth the time that we'll take to talk about it, read about it, and hopefully we'll see a video. There are plenty of, so we'll be able to see the reaction of it. If you notice here on the screen, that is a QR code. Scan it with your phone. That'll take you to my link tree. Has all my socials. So it's a better way for you to be able to get in touch with me. Watch my live streams. Comment on my videos. You can subscribe to my YouTube. A little bit of everything. You'll see all the links there, and you'll just pick your poison, basically. But yeah, man. I'll quickly go through my intro. Before I start, thank you very much to everyone that has supported me up until this moment. I appreciate the kind words that I've received up until this point. I absolutely love this. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. It's more of having to adjust what I love to do with my obligation in life. It's gotta, yeah. Unless you are fortunate enough to have started your own business, or you had a business passed down to you, or you have like an extremely high position and whatnot, you gotta do it. You gotta make that money somehow, and it's a step-by-step process. But yeah, it's all about balance. I just have to time manage myself better so that I'll be able to, again, fulfill my obligations in the morning, but have time to be able to live stream in the afternoon or in the evening. Instead of making it a morning show, we'll make it an evening show, and I'll change the name. I haven't come up with anything because I don't have anything concrete up until this point. But once I do, because it's a matter of when, not if. I'll keep you guys posted. You can find me all across social media: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. Join the Discord, King Angel's Entertainment Lounge, so you can keep yourself up to date with the next steps that are going to happen. I want to, again, balance it out as much as possible, but I also want to be able to be there for my community and continue to watch movies, album listens on Discord, and albeit it'll be at certain times, probably on the weekends, which is great, I guess. Balances that part out, but I want to make sure that the community in and of itself knows that I can't stop, won't stop, and it's just a matter of time management. But if you join the Discord, you'll be able to see the new schedule when I post it, any updates, anything random. We'll watch a documentary together. Let's learn something. Science is fun. There's plenty of information and things out there for us to be able to talk about, discuss, argue, debate, all done in a respectful manner. There's no need for disrespect or making it into something that could end up in heated arguments or violence or anything like that. No. Great minds don't do that. We debate and we argue things, and we're able to listen to each other's ideas and basically take it from that point on. Great minds don't get to the point of violence. Come on. So that's the case. Again, join the Discord, King Angel's Entertainment Lounge. I'll keep you posted there, and then we'll continue the conversation there. You also know that you can use your Twitch Prime here on your Amazon Prime here on Twitch. That's a Twitch Prime. That'll support and help me out a whole lot. So I would really appreciate that if you want to do it. If not, just follow me on Twitch. It'll notify you when I go live. That way you won't miss out on any of the live streams, which is cool. I mean, the engagement and conversation is the essence of the King Angel Show. So, I mean, if you can't support me one way, do just follow me or subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can watch the videos that I post there. I generally upload either review videos that I do, although I have been lacking lately, or I just chop up specific parts of live streams and I just post it there. So check it out. Let me know what you think. Like my videos, comment on them. Like I said, subscribe to my channel and share it out to loved ones. And if you do want to support me, and you feel like I'm worth that money, you can join my Patreon community. That's $2 a month. You get album listen. It's full audio versions of the episodes. The album listens we do on Discord. You get full unedited episodes as well. You get random topic days that are exclusive for Patreon members, and then there's some episodes of Coffee, the News, and Us that are also exclusive to Patreon members. Private Discord channels. There are a whole bunch of other benefits that you get with those $2 a month. I have a 7-day free trial going on right now that you can join, check it out. If you like it, you can remain a member, and that's $2 a month, and that would help me out immensely. Thinking of anything else? Did I mention the Discord, King Angel's Entertainment Lounge? Dude, follow me on TikTok as well. I'm trying to grow that TikTok community. Although this whole terms and services that TikTok has done now, I don't know what the hell's wrong with them. They already shadow banned one of my videos, so it's there. They let me upload it. It was a episode we did like a week or two ago. We're talking about fucking mosquito. I don't even know how this bitch got in here. We're talking about Princess Diana and the raunchy cards that she sent to King of Greece. And dude, TikTok shadow banned the video. They didn't let me they let me upload it, so the video's there, but it has 0 views. It's been there for like a week and a half, and it I don't think it's visible to anyone. So why even let me upload the video? You didn't give me any warnings or anything. Normally, like, I've had videos taken down, so they know exactly when the video should not be up, but like it's ridiculous because the other one, the one that they did end up taking down was when we were talking about Glenda during that the scammer episodes that we did on Coffee, the News, and Us. I didn't say anything. I said nothing that could have been considered bullying or harassment. I just read what the FBI had like written on their webpage, and they took the video down, and they gave me like a whole, like, it wasn't even a warning. They gave me like a strike and everything, talking about like bullying and harassing. Like, that makes absolutely no sense, because whatever. Plus, it's an actual case that happened. There's people that upload like true crime on TikTok, which is wonderful, but you know, the subject matter is, you know, it's about murder and stuff like that. Yet the videos get thousands of views. But I had that video taken down, and I have this other video shadow banned, I guess, or not visible to me. I don't even know what the hell it is. 'Cause, again, they didn't give me a warning or anything, so it's just sitting there. But nonetheless, I do try to upload as much as I can on TikTok. Follow me there. It's the most interesting app out of all the other ones that I mentioned there. I mean, Instagram is literally on its last breath, counting the days until that ends up closing down, because it's garbage at this point. I mean, Facebook, I guess, will still stay because it's still pretty big. I mean, albeit there has been a decrease in users, but I mean, nonetheless, I think it's big enough to be able to stay. I don't use LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is the worst one of all of them. It's the level of toxicity in that app or platform. Sorry, it's completely insane. The way people bloat and gloat about what they do for a living, and they do this word salad to make something simple as, I don't know, being an administrator. They make it into this title that you're like, whoa. And yet if you really look at it, it's just like data entry, for example, or like something that isn't that. 2 words, data entry. People would be able to understand what you're doing there, but they make it into this whole complex sentence, and I don't know, man. People inflate what they do, and it's completely fake, and there's constantly this battle of who's doing better, and I'm good with that. I could give a shit about what other people do with their own lives or don't. I don't know. People pay attention way too much to what other people do, and fail to live their own lives. And then we have these people on LinkedIn that need to rub in other people's faces that they have that position. That's all they have. That's all you have. You don't have anything else substantial in your life that you can be able to. You have to show the position that you have, and apparently that's supposed to be something that's, enough to have people want to follow you, or the bare minimum take your fucking opinion seriously. Listen, I'm good with that. So that's why I personally think that LinkedIn is the worst platform out there. I was obviously have one because at the end of the day, it's there, so whatever, and it's free. I guess that's the only thing that it has going for it. But I mean, other than that, the same amount of scammers that you get on Twitter, you'll get them on LinkedIn. Even worse. A lot of people, because of the positions that they hold, dude, they won't even talk to you. Like, you'll comment on something, and obviously commenting on something it's not mandatory, but I think it's like the least you can do. Especially given that you only have like a comment on your post. Yeah, I'm not quite understanding that. And then there's like this whole thing of like LinkedIn famous. Oh God, And on top of that, there's a whole bunch of like right-wing shit on LinkedIn as well, disguised behind all that fakery and all that shit. There's like an underlying racism and yeah, dude. I've been in that platform long enough to see things, and I can say from my own experience that yeah, no, I'm good with that. I'm cool. But yeah, TikTok is the best one out of all of them. That's all I'm trying to say. So if you're gonna follow me anywhere, follow me on TikTok. Obviously on Twitch and YouTube as well, but out of the social media platforms, TikTok is the one that I am more active on, and it's the most interesting one out of all of them. Crazy how is the world we live. How many platforms have we gone through right at this point? Think about it. Back home, we used to use High Five. So I used to have a MySpace, a High Five. Then when Facebook came out, I started with Facebook. And then all these other social media platforms started popping up. Twitter came about. And your data's everywhere. Every time you create an account, you're giving data to them. Who knows what the hell they're doing with it? I mean, we do know. Cambridge Analytica is a pretty good example of what they were doing with our data. Not to mention the fact that how many, like, there's this webpage that tracks all of the breaches that happen to companies. And let me tell you something. It's either companies have the worst security system when it comes to data and privacy of their customers, or whoever the hell creates an account on their platform, on their website, whatever the case may be, or they're intentionally doing it. They're intentionally letting themselves be breached in that manner, and our data is just being sold. Because it's insane. How many... Dude, the owners of LensCrafter had their data breached in November 2022. And when I looked up the information, because apparently I was affected by it, there was only like one website or two that was reporting on it. So these breaches happen a lot, and the news does not cover it. And your data, like your privacy, all of your information, your, life knows what is out there, just floating around, either sold to someone or on its way to being sold. You're probably on a international dark web website right now. You don't even know it. And it's because all of these companies just like sell all your information and shit. I don't think people understand the depth of data breaches. Like, dude, that's the same thing as someone's breaking into your house and stealing your passport and shit, and stealing like your IDs and information. Worse, because you don't even know. At least with someone breaking into your house, you can see it physically, or you'll notice it. But for example, the only reason why I know that about that data breach is because Verizon was the one that they have like that data app thing, and it lets you know like when your information is like, compromised and shit. And but I've never subscribed to anything. How did they have that information? Who's selling our data? Dude, questions, and it seems like we're not getting any answers. And again, you need to understand that it's like your ID, basically, albeit maybe not with your address, depending on the level of that data breach, but at the bare minimum, like your name and like your username and like information associated to whatever account that you created. And some places they ask for like your address and shit like that. So, man, I don't know. That's extremely weird, and I just don't understand how in the year 2023 we're still dealing with the magnitude of these data breaches. It's It's crazy. I really wish people would understand data, because I didn't get it until someone explained it to me. My wife had to explain it to me. Like I understood it to a certain point, but when she started explaining to me the gravity of just how, how bad it is when your data is sold and people like buy your stuff. Like, yeah, you'll get like emails and shit and spam maybe, but dude, there's some people that have like their complete identities, like identity theft, and their lives are like ruined. Yeah, no, man, it's crazy. No, I'm good with that. All these companies do it, and then it doesn't seem like we have any option but having to consistently give them our data, because we want to use the apps, we want to use the accounts, like we want to be able to use the platforms, but it doesn't let you use it completely, or you can't like do anything on it other than view it unless you create an account, put your data in, and they're just selling it out to other people. That's insane. All right. Nonetheless, I really hope something happens with that, and we have like tighter regulations when it comes to data breaches. And T-Mobile had one that was extremely big a few years ago. I remember when PlayStation had one. I had my PlayStation 3. This was probably like 15 years ago, when this was right when Black Ops had come out. The server, you couldn't get online. The network was completely down, and it was like that for probably like a week or two. I don't know if you guys remember that. In chat, if you guys play video games and shit, or if you remember hearing about that whole data breach and whatnot. Dude, people's information was stolen. Yeah. Look it up. If you don't remember it, definitely look it up. That was a whole thing. All right. We'll start today's Coffee, the News, and Us with the topic that I wanted to talk about. It's insane. So I'll switch over to the other screen. As always, thank you so much for being here. If you're hearing the audio version of this, that means you're a Patreon member. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Your support motivates me and helps me continue to push on and create content and go live and whatnot. So I really appreciate it very much. Let's switch over to the other screen. Bam. Oh, wait, I don't have the capture here. Okay, so about 2 days ago, there was a huge sonic boom that was heard across like a state or two, primarily in Washington. There was a private jet that had entered into restricted area in Washington, and I could only imagine all the alarms that went off and how everyone went into panic mode. Well, the thing is, they sent out, specifically from Washington, it was 2 jets that left Washington, and they were authorized to basically break the sound barrier, and there was a huge sonic boom. So it's a huge like boom sound that came out of nowhere, and there were people that were actually live on like TikTok and stuff, and it was a pretty freaky moment. A lot of people thought that the country was under attack. Turns out it was well, you know what? Let's jump into the article in and of itself, and then if you haven't heard the story, I don't want to spoil it for you, because I mean it gets interesting. It's not like a good spoil or anything, but nonetheless, what we know up until this point is private jet enters restricted area. We have specifically 2 jets that departed from Washington, authorized to go into sonic boom mode, break the sound barrier, and yeah, we'll start with that. Okay. So this is geo.tv. It says US F-16s go supersonic to intercept plane before it went down in Virginia. So that's they're showing an aerial picture of the Washington Monument. Do I have anyone that I can credit this to? No. So the article says, in an attempt to stop an unresponsive plane that entered heavily restricted airspaces of the country near Washington, D.C., the U.S. scrambled F-16 fighter jets Sunday at a supersonic speed after the small plane crashed in Virginia. There were no survivors found at the crash site in the rural area, according to the Virginia State Police. As per CNN, there were 4 people on board the Cessna Citation plane. So, the large boom was caused by the U.S. fighter jets over Washington, D.C. as they chased light aircraft, causing panic among the residents of the area. The fighters, according to the officials, did not cause the small plane to crash, which can carry 12 passengers. North American Aerospace Defense Command, which is NORAD, said in a statement, the U.S. military attempted to contact the pilot, who was unresponsive, until the Cessna crashed near the George Washington National Forest in Virginia. The NORAD aircraft were authorized to travel at supersonic speeds, and a sonic boom may have been heard by residents of the region. Read the statement, adding that NORAD aircraft also used flares in an attempt to attract the pilot's attention. The plane took off from Elizabethton Municipal Airport in Elizabethton, Tennessee, and was bound for Long Island MacArthur Airport in New York, about 50 miles, which is 80 kilometers, east of Manhattan, the FAA said in a statement, adding that it and the National Transportation Safety Board would investigate. A flight tracking website, FlightAware, noted that the Cessna was registered to Encore Motors of Melbourne, Florida. Encore owner John Rumpel told Washington Post that his daughter, a grandchild, and her nanny were on board. It is immediately unclear what caused the plane to go unresponsive. He said they had been returning to New York from his North Carolina home. It descended at 20,000 feet a minute, and nobody can survive a crash from that speed. So one of the things that I read yesterday in the news was that apparently there could have been a problem on the actual aircraft, and because of the sudden descent, they lost oxygen. And it was reported that one of the pilots of the jet noticed that the pilot of the military jets noticed that the pilot was passed out. So I think they were coming to the conclusion that because of that loss of oxygen, it got to the point where, they all, I guess, went unconscious, specifically the pilot, and it caused the plane to crash. Like I just read, they did use flares to be able to attract the pilot's attention, to no avail, and unfortunately, it did crash, killing everyone in the plane. I mean, pretty sad, indeed. I don't understand why they force. Let me see. Let's get something that actually can actually give us something. So this is Jalopnik, the cult of cars, racing, and everything that moves you. I didn't know this existed. So it says, listen to air traffic control as supersonic F-16s try to intercept a plane over Virginia. This was written by Andy Kalmowitz. It was published yesterday, June 5th, 2023. It says, the jets caused a sonic boom over much of the capital region after an unresponsive Cessna flew too close to D.C. Okay, so it says, air traffic controllers on the East Coast were tasked with clearing airspace for 2 F-16 fighters attempting to intercept a wayward business jet that flew over Washington, D.C. on June 4th. One of the jets, leaving from Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland, caused a loud sonic boom that was heard across the DMV. Through an ATC recording posted by a Twitter user, we can hear one F-16, Zulu Cosmic 01-02 get clearance to depart and scramble from Atlantic City. You can also hear another F-16, Brave 01-02, attempt to make contact with the troubled Cessna Citation with little success. That plane eventually crashed in the Shenandoah Valley region of Virginia, killing everyone on board. Okay, so let's listen to the call. I'll pause the music real quick. Or mute the music.
Departure Cosmic 02 is airborne with an active alert scramble.
Cosmic 02, Atlantic City departure.
I'm looking for an on-course heading of 040.
Right one, thanks. Your radar contact, climb and maintain 17,000, and you guys direct to the TOI system.
National Guard Fighter on guard. If you hear this transmission, contact us on 121.5. Aircraft tracking 7275. This is armed air defense fighter on guard 121.5. Contact us immediately on this transmission. Aircraft tracking 7275. This is armed air defense fighter transmitting on 121.5. You have been intercepted. Contact me up on this transmission. 121.5.
Well, dang. So this comment written by Andrew Layden says, yes, that's the radio intercepts we picked up. At first we thought it was an exercise, but now it appears to have been real world. Jeez. So it says, according to the Associated Press, the North American Aerospace Defense Command said in a statement that the F-16 from Andrews was authorized to travel at supersonic speeds, and that ended up causing the sonic boom that was heard in D.C. as well as parts of Virginia and Maryland. Oddly, why oddly though, but President Joe Biden happened to be playing golf with his brother at Joint Base Andrews around the time the fighter took off, according to AP. However, a spokesperson for the U.S. Secret Service said the incident didn't have any impact on the president's movement on Sunday. Okay, whatever. The Federal Aviation Administration says the Cessna took off from Elizabethton, Tennessee earlier in the day on Sunday, and it was heading for MacArthur Airport on Long Island, according to the AP. For some unknown reason, it then turned around over Long Island and flew a straight path down over D.C. before crashing around 3:30 p.m. Interesting. I didn't know that part. Up until this point, I thought that they had I understood that they had entered restricted area, but I didn't realize that they had, I guess, for some unknown reason, they turned around over Long Island and flew a straight path down over D.C. The outlet reports that the Cessna apparently suffered a rapid spiraling descent, and at one point it was dropping at a rate of over 30,000 feet per minute before crashing. Rescuers weren't able to get to the site for another 4 hours, and they had to travel on foot. It says, AP reports the plane that crashed, like we read before, was registered to Encore Motors of Melbourne, Inc., a company based in Florida. John Rumpel, who runs the company, reportedly said that his daughter, 2-year-old granddaughter, her nanny, and the pilot were aboard the plane when it crashed. Dang. Let's see. Maybe we can find some... I'm trying to look for the actual video. It's the Washington Post. They're not going to let me... See? I knew it. It's happened to us before. Oh, God. The whole point of it is... Jeez. Whatever, man. We'll look for it like this. Okay, This is from ABC News.
The scare over our nation's capital. Fighter jets scrambled when a
Title is Sonic Boom That Rattled Washington, D.C. Caused by Military Jets. This is from ABC News. I guess it's a Good Morning America.
plane flew through restricted airspace. Sonic boom rattled the Washington, D.C. area, briefly put the White House and the Capitol on alert. Chief Global Affairs anchor Martha Redis is in Washington with the latest. Good morning, Martha.
Good morning, Georgia. It was an unsettling, frightening moment for thousands here in Washington, hearing that very loud boom with fighter jets scrambling into the skies before a tragic ending. A sonic boom heard across the nation's capital and neighborhoods beyond.
Look at the dog. Oh
rattling
no.
homes and rattling nerves.
It was very jarring.
We thought it was probably an earthquake.
The city on alert as a small civilian jet, a Cessna Citation, flew through restricted airspace, the pilot failing to respond to air traffic control. The U.S. military quickly launching 6 F-16 fighter jets from 3 bases to...
Dude, I can only imagine scrambling. Ah, oh my goodness. We have to get the... And, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Ever since I saw Top Gun Maverick, that's all I can think about when I hear, like, military jets and whatnot. All I can picture is, like, Tom Cruise on inside the jet. That movie is pretty fucking awesome. I loved every single minute of it. And, yeah, dude, like, shout out to, like, pilots. And it's crazy. It's insane. Albeit I'm not a fan of war at all, but the concept of being a pilot, and especially like military pilots and jets and stuff like that. And fuck, you know what? I'll add commercial flighting to that as well. It's pretty incredible. Damn you, Tom Cruise. I hope they make a third one. Because, again, if you haven't seen Top Gun Maverick, I highly recommend. It's a very good movie. I was shocked that it was that good, to be quite honest with you. I didn't like Top Gun much like the original one. It was good. It's okay. But Tom Cruise he's never been like on any of my like lists of like great actors, and I don't think that he's an amazing actor, but I don't know what the hell happened with that movie. I don't know what he drank. I don't know what happened, but he absolutely nailed it. And he does his own stunts too. Or the majority of them, I think. Excellent movie. Highly recommend. And, I mean, again, it's a very unfortunate story, obviously. I'm strictly only talking about the jets and, like, pilots. Like, not the actual, like, situation in and of itself, because it is pretty sad. So, I want to make that clear. Yeah, just thought I'd point that out, because I don't want the message to be misconstrued or thinking like I'm gleeing over what happened. No, I'm admiring the pilots, like the actual. All right, moving on.
Tracked the plane as it headed south into Virginia. The 2 F-16s over Washington reaching supersonic speed to catch up with the Cessna jet, creating that sonic boom.
Dude, could you imagine?
That reverberated across the region. Within minutes, the Cessna jet was spotted at 34,000 feet over a remote area in southwest Virginia. The pilot still unresponsive. The fighter jets firing flares to try to alert the civilian pilot, but to no avail. The pilot appearing to be passed out, the plane likely out of fuel, taking a dive and crashing 10 minutes after the fighter jets intercepted it. Some aviation experts speculating that hypoxia, the lack of oxygen, may have incapacitated the pilot and passengers.
One of an aircraft that has crashed with a total of 4 passengers.
According to the FAA, the Cessna jet, with those 4 on board, took off from an airport in northeast Tennessee, bound for MacArthur Airport on New York's Long Island. The flight path showing the plane reaching Long Island, but instead of landing, turning around, likely on autopilot, heading south before crashing in Virginia.
That is
The New
so
York Times spoke with the
weird.
man-
That is so weird. That's so weird though. Like, I mean, it made it to its actual destination. So running out of fuel would, I don't know. I mean, this is all this is my own personal opinion. I'm not, saying anything that, this is just something I think. It's, at the end of the day, actual factual data could disprove what I'm saying completely or make a lot more sense. I don't know, but I mean, you can clearly see that they made it to the MacArthur Airport in Long Island, but something happened at that point right there. My finger's gonna lock up right there. Something happened that caused them to turn back. And that is what I specifically find the weirdest thing of all. Why turn back? Why turn back? Why, as a pilot, knowing that you would need fuel, why turn back? I don't know. That's why there's. You know what? I don't know. It just seems weird to me.
For crashing in Virginia. The New York Times spoke with the man who runs the company that owns the civilian jet. John Rumpel said tragically that in addition to the pilot, his daughter, his 2-year-old granddaughter, and her nanny were aboard the plane. George?
Yeah, that is so sad. Okay, Martha, thanks. Let's bring in our aviation expert, Stephen Ganyard. And Stephen, start out by telling everybody what the standard is for scrambling these fighter jets.
Yeah, George, the actual standards are classified, but there is a good bit of judgment involved. Remember that the North American Air Defense Command out in Colorado Springs has responsibility for all of the U.S. and Canada. So they're monitoring all these flights, and it's actually not unusual to lose communications with various flights around the perimeter of the U.S. and Canada. So they have to think about what is the intent. In this case, the aircraft was at 34,000 feet. It stayed at 34,000 feet, and it stayed on a constant heading. So it didn't seem like it was a big threat. They did put the Capitol and the White House on alert, but they didn't shoot it down precisely because they saw that it was not going to be a threat to the Capitol.
And it appears that everyone on board may have been unconscious because of this hypoxia. What causes that?
Yeah, it's frankly just a lack of oxygen, George. If you know when you take off in an airplane, you hear your ears pop because the pressurization on an airplane does just that. It compresses the air in the cabin to make sure that there's enough oxygen so that you can survive and go about your business normally on an...
You know, when planes were starting to first be manufactured and putting all the pieces together and whatnot, there was actually a high number of planes that would have accidents because they couldn't figure out why there was air coming into the actual airplane. And through, obviously science and math and all this, they were able to discover that by switching the windows to the shape that it has now with the curvatures, they were able to seal the plane and stop air from flowing inside of it, because it was a huge problem when, again, planes were first starting to be manufactured and, created and whatnot. But it's pretty interesting. We might watch a video of that after we're done with this topic, because that, and I would love to see something about like jets and like them being able to achieve supersonic and whatnot. It's pretty interesting.
An airplane. Sometimes that pressurization may fail. It can fail slowly, like if it fails to pressurize on the climb, or it can be catastrophic. But it does seem that in this case, that hypoxia probably caused by the loss of pressurization in this 33-year-old airplane was the cause of this tragic mishap.
So that means there was no way to land that plane safely for the fighter pilots to help that land safely.
No, anytime the F-16s are responsible for air defense, they'll go up and they'll take a look. Sometimes it's just a matter of losing radio communication, but once everybody's incapacitated, there's really nothing that can be done.
Stephen Canyon, thanks very much. Hi, everybody.
Dang. That's crazy. Whoa. Poor doggy. Ooh. Ooh, that's loud. I mean, just imagine you don't know. I mean, you can make up anything in your head at this point. If you hear something like that, my first thought would be, oh, wow, no, this is it. This is how it starts. Oh, no. That, in all honesty, that would be my first reaction. Sucks, but yeah, that's definitely what I would think first. Okay, let's see. Let's look up first. Let's see. Okay, it's from Popular Mechanics. That might have. Let's see. This is why are plane windows round?
Why are plane windows round? This seems like a simple question, but let's take a look. As passenger planes became more popular, planes needed to fly higher. Flying high means less drag because the air density is lower in the upper atmosphere, so less fuel is wasted. Flying high also means a more comfortable flight, because the plane can now fly above the turbulent lower atmosphere. But some design changes need to be made to allow this. First, the cabin has to be pressurized to create a survivable environment for the passengers. Second, the cabin must be cylindrical in shape, because a cylinder can resist the new internal pressure. But one design flaw was not corrected when cabin pressurization was first introduced. The windows remain square. So why is this a problem? As a plane increases in altitude, the external atmospheric pressure lowers more than the internal cabin pressure. This creates a pressure difference between the inside and outside of the plane, causing the plane to expand ever so slightly. When a material changes shape like this, stress is created in the material. As the material is stretched more and more, the stress begins to rise. Eventually, the stress can rise so high that the material breaks. There are a lot of factors that can elevate this stress. One of them is the shape of the material. In planes, the shape of the windows has a huge effect on the level of stress. Stress will flow smoothly through a material, but if an obstacle is placed in its path, like a window, it needs to change direction, and this causes the pressure to build in certain locations. This is called stress concentration. Comparing modern-day oval windows and square windows, you can see that the square windows provide a larger barrier to the smooth flow of stress, and this means that the stress builds in the sharp corners of the window. This elevated stress created by the square windows actually caused cracks to form in the de Havilland Comet, causing 3 tragic crashes. The investigations that followed led to our greater understanding of stress concentration, and that is why all plane windows are now oval in shape.
Pretty good explanation. I thought it was fascinating when I heard it. All right, so let's see. Okay, so maybe before we whoa. This is an actual website. It's called Boom Supersonic. Oh, turn this back on. The Symphony Engine Powering Overture, the world's fastest airliner. Holy cannoli. Optimized for speed, safety, and sustainability. Wow. Oh, okay. I guess it's American Airlines that's doing this. If you're hearing the audio version of this, we're literally looking at a picture of the future of airplanes. This is a jet airplane hybrid. It's what it looks like. Has a sort of beak to it, pretty long, and I don't know, it looks pretty fast. I'm not gonna lie, it looks extremely fast. The underside of it is completely black. Wow, it looks really awesome. Like, in and of itself, the aesthetics of it looks pretty cool. Okay, so it says American places deposit on 20 Overture aircraft. So American Airlines, the world's largest airline, poised to have the world's largest supersonic fleet. Okay. Oh, this is a conceptual render. So United also is doing the same thing. So United becomes the first airline to sign an Overture purchase agreement while committing to 100% SAF operations. Northrop Grumman. Wow, everyone's doing this. Holy cannoli. Dang, even the Air Force. Wow. I would love to know what it is, though. So the idea is, I mean, is this something that's already done, or what are we doing here? No way. No way. No way. Okay, so it's a 600 plus supersonic routes. With this boom supersonic, flights from LA, Los Angeles to Seoul, instead of it being 12 hours and 45 minutes, it's 6 hours and 45 minutes. So it's literally chopping it up in half, making it a lot more manageable. 6 hours and 45 minutes is, depending on where you are, sort of the time that you'll take coming from coast to coast. From New York to Frankfurt, Germany. Instead of 8 hours, it would cut it to 4 hours and 15 minutes. From Tokyo to Seattle, instead of 8 hours and 30 minutes, it would be 4 hours and 30 minutes. Los Angeles, Sydney. Wow, instead of 14 hours and 30 minutes, 8 hours and 30 minutes. It's still a long way, but dude, they're cutting out 6 hours. That's insane. Miami to Madrid. Instead of 7 hours and 35 minutes, 4 hours and 25 minutes. Philly to London. Instead of 6 hours and 45 minutes, 3 hours and 45 minutes. SF, which is San Francisco to Tokyo. Instead of 10 hours and 15 minutes, 6 hours. Wow, that's insane. Well, it does say time shown are approximate and subject to change. Okay, well, maybe it'll change for the better, and it'll be even less time when they figure out how to do it. Okay, this has to be like a render. This can't be the actual, like, yeah, this is probably like a render that they did for it. Looks pretty good. I mean, the top of the airplane has a forest on it. I don't know. Okay, so we're going to learn more about this. This is Mach 1.7 meets net zero carbon. Boom Supersonic is redefining commercial air travel by bringing sustainable supersonic flight to the skies. With a relentless dedication to net zero carbon by 2025 and a focus on driving access to affordable SAF at scale, Boom is actively working with partners and suppliers across the travel experience to drive environmentally responsible change and impact. Okay, talking my language. Okay, I'm curious. Let's see this video that's on top. And this is a Boom Supersonic website. I don't know. Oh boy. I don't know. I'm scared of hitting play because it probably has like. £35,000 of Mach 1.7. I love that they have to write that it's a conceptual render. This ain't it. I want to learn a little bit more about the sustainability part of it. Pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. Okay, so accelerating the path to sustainable travel. For Boom, our environmental sustainability priorities stem from an ambitious but achievable commitment to net zero carbon by 2025 and an approach rooted in driving systemic change. We intend to go beyond our own goals to create impact at scale, mobilizing our value chain, collaborating with stakeholders across the global travel ecosystem, and leading advocacy efforts to advance sustainable travel. Those two words don't go together, bud. I don't know about you, but you lost me there with the stakeholders part. Once you start talking about stakeholders, that means that there's other companies involved in this. That means that it's profit over people. As much as you want to try to sell, sustainability and all that. Once that word shareholders comes into place, that obviously means that it's going to be completely reigned by a capitalist mentality. Probably means that the flights are going to be a lot more expensive because of the luxury of being able to travel, to places in less time. So, yeah. It's good while it lasted. I should have known. It's like I'll give an example. It's like the whole Apple thing yesterday. Like their Vision Pro. I mean, their marketing department is to be studied, and other companies should try their hardest to take pointers from Apple when it comes to like their advertisement and stuff. Because, mind you, that Vision Pro looks phenomenal, albeit it's a Ready Player One kind of situation, but it looks pretty good. It looks pretty cool, but it's $3,500. So it's not. It only creates the illusion of something, but it's unattainable by the majority of us. Like, are you really going to give $3,500 for that? I'd travel with $3,500. Are you out of your mind? You think I'm going to pay Apple that amount of money for goggles? Pretty cool still. And like the whole intention is awesome, and I'm completely down with it. But once you make shit not accessible to people, you're only creating stuff for a certain niche. And, people just don't really take it seriously anymore. This is the same thing. You mentioned stakeholders, talking about sustainability, and that already means that they have to answer to higher powers. They have to answer to companies and like other businesses that are more profitable, and they depend on that money. So as much as they want to make it seem like it's, in this case, net zero carbon, like we're reading here, at the end of the day, someone needs to make their money back, and they're going to try to make that money back some way, somehow. It's not for the people. That's all I can say. As awesome as it sounds, and as much as I would love for other airlines to do the same, or there would be better ways to be to look for more fuel efficient ways, or lower the dependency on fossil fuels, period. Dude, airplanes consume a lot of fossil fuels. And this is this is actually a very good step into something that could be positive for people, but it's not, because it's under a capitalist mentality, and it's dictated by, like they said it right there, they're stakeholders. That means that they're a corporation, and corporations don't give a shit about us at all. You lost me. They go fuck themselves. Yep, lost me with the stakeholder part there. Right then and there. Alright, so I'll read a bit, just this top portion of what a supersonic aircraft is, and then we'll check out one of the videos that's on one of the other tabs that I have there. So, a supersonic aircraft is an aircraft capable of supersonic flight. That is, flying faster than the speed of sound, which is Mach 1. Supersonic aircraft were developed in the second half of the 20th century. Supersonic aircrafts have been used for research and military purposes, but only two supersonic aircrafts, the Tupolev Tu-144, first flown on December 31st, 1968, and the Concorde, first flown on March 2nd, 1969, ever entered service for civil use as airliners. Fighter jets are the most common example of supersonic aircrafts. The aerodynamics of supersonic flight is called compressible flow because of the compression associated with the shock waves or sonic boom created by any object traveling faster than sound. Aircraft flying at speeds above Mach 5 are called hypersonic aircraft. So interesting. Okay. Hopefully we'll be able to watch this video. It's supersonic flight, sonic booms. Woo! That person sounds so happy in that moment. But wow, that is so cool, dude. Oh, that was awesome. You can see the I don't even know what to, like, the waves coming out from the back when it does that sonic boom. That's crazy.
Sound travels at about 760 miles per hour,
Whoa,
or 340 meters per second. That's about 661 knots on an average day at sea level. And sometimes you can almost see it. Going close to that speed through air can cause some unusual visual effects. What you're looking at here is a NASA image of an SR-71 bending light waves from the pressure differentials it's producing. Air's pressure and temperature both drop when airspeed increases. Rapid changes in density can be enough to bend light like a lens. How does it happen? Airspeed increases as it flows over the form of an aircraft, pushing its way near Mach 1, the speed of sound. That means that even aircraft slower than the speed of sound can accelerate the air moving over them beyond the speed of sound. As pressure all around the aircraft drops, that air cools, and as air cools, its ability to hold moisture drops. So if there's enough moisture, you'll see it form in clouds that appear attached to the aircraft itself.
Holy shit.
The cone-shaped clouds you see aren't in fact traveling with the aircraft. Each section of air is spontaneously reacting to the temperature and pressure change induced by the aircraft's body sliding past.
Holy
Then there are the
shit.
shock waves. Shock waves are formed by the air that can't get out of the way fast enough, forming a pressure wave. We perceive that pressure wave as sound. Aircraft actually usually produce two booms. They just reach us so quickly in succession that we can't distinguish the two.
Shit.
All of these factors are quite normal and have come to be expected in images that capture supersonic, transonic, or even near supersonic flight. But on rare occasions, we do get a glimpse of something special. At Kennedy Space Center on February 11, 2010, an Atlas rocket launched into ideal conditions for showing off shockwave. And this is the result.
Whoa! Whoa! Holy shit, holy shit. Okay, that was awesome. Whoa, holy shit.
Shockwave. And this is the result.
Oh shit, that is so cool. Okay, so if you're hearing the audio version of this, it looks like... How can I describe it? It looks like the ripples that water makes when you throw something in it. So, you know, it has like... You see like the wave... Like drop a pebble and go... That's how it looks, but it's the actual, like, it's this... It's in the sky. That shit is crazy. Wow, I've never seen this before. Sorry, I'm gonna put it back a little bit.
Shockwave. And this is the result.
Whoa. Oh, wow. Okay, what is the company that has... it's not... Is it DreamWorks? I don't know. I don't remember which one is the one that has it. That has like the you can see like the water and it like ripples and you can see then the logo pops up or something. That's what it looks like. It looks otherworldly. Wow. Holy shit.
Hope you've enjoyed this little tour of visual and auditory speed of sound phenomena. Visit amweb.com for it.
Wow. That was amazing. Okay, I'll pause it for this one. This video is a little bit longer. It says exclusive look at NASA's low boom supersonic plane. Nope.
But that high speed sonic boom for everyone on the ground below. And NASA and Lockheed Martin have given us exclusive access for the very first look at this aircraft to find out how it works.
X-59 quiet supersonic plane. God.
Dinner.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm not gonna be able to leave it. They have way too much music, and you can obviously tell that it's not. It's all copyrighted, so no, I don't want to have to deal with that. This is from CNN. It says the world's fastest passenger jet goes supersonic in tests.
Nearly 2 decades after the Concorde was retired, supersonic passenger flights around the world could once again be within reach. Calling it the world's fastest and longest range purpose-built business jet, plane manufacturer Bombardier's Global 8000 boasts speeds of over 750 miles per hour. And joining me now on this is CNN aviation correspondent Pete Muntean. Pete, the company is calling this the world's fastest jet. So does that mean that, you know, breakfast in New York and then lunch in Sydney? Can I do this?
It's all about bragging rights, Big Brianna. You know, we're talking about...
You know, based off of what we saw of the times that it would take with this new technology, you could very well do that. You could very well grab a flight. What is it? Was it like... it was when that was like shortened, like, it was like 8 to 4 hours. And yeah, you could be there, go for a meeting in the morning, and you would be home by lunch. Oh, bull, not lunch. Let's not exaggerate. You'd be home by dinner. Same day. That's crazy. Wow. I think, what was it? Los Angeles to Seoul was one of the ones that was cut in half. It was like from 8 to 4 hours. Yeah, you could literally wake up in the morning. You could catch a 6 a.m. flight. You could make it to Seoul by 10:30. Could be off the plane and everything and out the airport by 11. You could go to let's say, for example, you're a business person. You're going on a meeting. You're going to a meeting, and you could have that meeting scheduled for 2 p.m. That meeting takes an hour and a half, and you would still be able to make it home if you were to get to the airport and catch the flight by 4, let's say 4 p.m. Dude, you could be home by 8:30, 9. One day. Mind you, you probably have like some serious jet lag, but like, or will you? I wonder if that would be the case, you would still get jet lagged. I'm not sure. That's pretty interesting though. But think about it. Dude, you can go to the other side of the world, come back the next day. That's the future. It's gonna take a very long time for us to get there. It'll obviously have to get to the point where it's more accessible to people. But once it reaches that point of accessibility and everyone will be able to enjoy it and obviously pay for it, but afford it, I give it maybe 10, 15 years from now. After it hits the waves of capitalism and all the rich people, once it starts becoming a lot more accessible to us normies here, then you'll see how it'll become the standard in airlines. And dude, that's wonderful. You have more control of your time. You'll be able to get some time back, because if you really think about it, it takes 8 hours, for example, to go, like I mentioned, from Los Angeles to Seoul. If it's 4, you get 4 hours. Like that's pretty good. That's an extremely great trade-off. We saw some of them that were like 14 hours long, the flights, shortened to 8. Wow, that's pretty amazing. But again, it's going to take a very long time for it to get to the point where we can take advantage of it, because that's how it always goes. All right, moving on.
The fastest civilian airplane that money can buy, the Bombardier Global 8000. 8,000 comes from the range, 8,000 nautical miles. The top speed Mach 0.94. So we're talking about 94% of the speed of sound. There has not been a civilian airplane built faster than this since the Concorde. It can carry up to 19 passengers. Remember, this is a business jet, a private plane, not really a passenger plane that you and I would fly on. More on this in a second. So let's just get a little perspective on how fast we're talking about here. Mach 1, the speed of sound, 761 miles per hour at sea level. It varies with temperature, a few other factors. So most private planes, the fastest you could get is about Mach 0.92. Up until now, we're talking about Mach 0.94. Long time ago, we were talking about the Concorde, retired in 2003. It was up here, past Mach 2. So still a long way to go for what we saw back in the Concorde. But remember, retired back in 2003. It was plagued by tons of problems. It was really expensive to repair. The airlines didn't want to fly it anymore. It was tiny, but it could get about 100 people from New York to Paris in about 3 hours, which is a pretty incredible speed. The test flight, the test bed for the Bombardier Global 8000 went Mach 1.015 in a bit of a descent. So that means that it was going a little bit faster downhill, but it was chasing a F-18, so going pretty darn fast, Brianna. All of this speed means more range on the same amount of fuel. We're talking, Houston to Dubai, London to Perth, Singapore to LA, if you ever need to go that far. It's not built for the every person. This is more of something where you need to go, let's say to Dubai for breakfast, for a meeting. These orders are up in the pandemic. Private planes have actually been doing pretty well compared to commercial airliners, which have been down a little bit. So it's a pretty interesting time for business and private planes.
Well, isn't that interesting, huh? Isn't that a ball of kittens right there? When they themselves, it's like a Freudian slip. I wonder why private jets have gone up and commercial airlines have gone down. Damn, I wonder why, dude. I wonder why. Oh well, I guess it's a mystery that we're never going to find out, huh? You understand why I mentioned the first wave of capitalism. Once that's done with, once it becomes just something else for these insanely rich people that are all over the world, then from that point on, then they'll start offering those services to us normies. But do you understand? He even said it right there. If you want to go have a breakfast. So you can already tell that it's going to be pretty expensive. This isn't going to be something that's like the cost of like a flight right now. If there's a flight to like $1,000 and shit. This is probably going to be something like a $5,000-$10,000 thing. That's my own personal opinion. I mean, I'll have breakfast. It's safe for the people that want to have breakfast in Singapore. Are you? You know, I'd like to have breakfast in Singapore like that too, but and I'm afraid that because we won't actually have access to the best version of it. They'll probably create like a mid version where it won't go as fast, but it'll go faster than the planes that we currently have. And they'll like price it out from there and save the exclusivity of getting to places a lot quicker for those that can afford it. A VIP sort of thing. Because I'm pretty sure that if those planes, if they make them with like 100 passengers, the people that are in there that are paying that excessive amount of money to get there beforehand, they're not going to want to, they're not going to want to mingle with the normies, I guess. So it's not going to be like a first class on one section and then everyone, because it'll defeat the purpose of having that, paying for that whole exclusivity. So you'll see. You'll see. That's what I think it's gonna happen, especially based off of what this dude just said. All right, moving on. And that whole Concorde thing, that's whoa. New York to Paris in 3 hours, 3 hours and some change. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Planes like this. We haven't seen something like this in a long, long time.
Okay, so let's talk about the cost. And does this include one of those like nice warm face towelettes and a champagne? I mean, what does this come with? What are you going to pay for it?
It is pretty bougie, maybe for you and I. A little salty, maybe not for Burma, but maybe for you and I, it might be a little difficult. Okay, so let's talk about the interior here. 4 different.
You see what I'm saying? Do you understand? You
zones of the cabin, pretty plush. Might see a
slip like Freudian. Right there. It's, do you see? It's that capitalist mentality.
Mahogany table like this. You can see the pretty advanced cockpit there. Up to 19 people on board, depending on the configuration. We're not going to see this at the airlines. We may see it at the airlines from a company called Boom Supersonic. And some of these planes, 15 orders were just put in by United Airlines, might not see a supersonic plane at the airlines until something like 2029. But this is something that would do Newark to London in about 3.5 hours. Speed is king here. The airlines are dying for it, and so are people with a lot of money. $78 million for the Bombardier Global 8000, Brianna.
That is a fancy plane on the inside, Berman. Did you see that? It definitely comes with
It is
a
a fancy plane.
I did see it right after Pete Munson called me bougie.
Bougie.
So yeah, that caught my attention.
Just making sure.
Fuck you, CNN. Yeah, bougie. You see? And he mentioned 2029. Like, he's being nice about it because that's only 6 years from now. He's being generous when I truly think that this will be something 15 to 20 years from now. We are going to have to go through a lot of changes in this country for us to be able to start seeing other countries will implement this faster than the US will implement it for commercial airlines. Like for normal people, you and I, to travel from one place to another, are hard working people in a general sense that won't, we won't have access to this. And even then, even when they finally create it for commercial airlines and us normies will be able to purchase tickets and stuff, they're going to charge an arm and a leg for it because they have to profit off of it somehow, and it's a sort of exclusivity. I think that given what I said, 15 and 20 years for it to be implemented as a commercial commercial like airlines and whatnot. I think that maybe 35 years from now, it'll be just like a standard regular like airline. And then from that point on, then they work on how to increment the speed even more to get to places faster. But it's going to take a long time for it to happen. There's still a lot of planes out in circulation. For them to make the switch from one to another, again, that's where they're going to start charging people a whole bunch of money because they have to make it somehow. So, kudos to the idea. It's a very good idea, and I guess shout out to whoever the fuck will be able to afford it. That sucks, though. It sucks that this is the life we live in. That we have to. This is the world we live in. The majority of those people that are like filthy rich aren't. They wouldn't be able to achieve the amount of money that they have if it weren't for the people that work for the company or make that business work and profitable. It is the weirdest thing ever. Okay, so that was that for a topic that we started with, which was the interception or the failed attempt at intercepting a plane that flew into a restricted area and headed towards Washington, D.C., which, again, I still find pretty weird. And I guess there's really isn't much information about it, but that's like it's like prime meat for conspiracy theories. That's all I'm gonna say. And I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist myself, but that's extreme. That's very weird. That's very weird. I don't know, man. I don't even know what to say about that. Turning around after arriving at your destination, like you could have just landed. I don't know. Maybe it's because I watch too much true crime. And I lack the trust that other people seem to have, because I don't fucking trust that shit. That's weird. All right, moving on. Let's see what BBC Science has to say today. That's all. Sciencefocus.com. I saw one here that was interesting. We'll read this one first. It says, bugs on the brink. Why insects could be disappearing from your garden this year. Ooh. This seems interesting. Does the brain really experience a great restructuring after we turn 40? This seems interesting because your boy is pushing 40, so it is a lived experience at this point right now. So I'll see what they have to say. And you other millennials that are in your 30s, late 30s, pushing that 40, I feel for you. Tough times. Very weird times. I can tell you this. Someone gave me false information growing up because I was told that if I went to school and I did the whole college thing, that I would be guaranteed a high-paying job and success with my white picket fenced house and kids and retirement, and it's not looking like that's happening. It's not. It does not seem like that is the path that our lives are taking collectively and individually. So, yeah. Someone lied to us. Someone lied to me. And I believed that lie for a very long time, and I held on to it. Thinking that, if you do everything correctly and you follow the path that I just mentioned, that everything is going to be all right and you will be successful. And no, that's not what's happening. That's not what's happening at all. I don't get it. It's like the level of uncertainty that is being felt, again, collectively and individually, is insane. It's uncertainty mixed in with just like fear and a whole bunch of doubt. Because I don't know if it's because we have so much access to information now, and we're just bombarded all the time with news, and we can keep ourselves up to date with everything. But I don't know, man. I feel like that has like a kind of like a negative effect, because I don't know, the future looked a lot more colorful when I was younger. It kind of seemed like there was, you know, albeit it could have been a lie, but there was something to look forward to when you grew older, I guess. And let me tell you that is not the case. That is not the case. Maybe because times have changed so much. But I don't know. It's I don't know, getting old is weird. Especially like in these times. Like before, you would, you know, you had your life kind of carved out for you. And there was a certain things that you did before you reached a certain age. And now as I look at my peers and everyone around me, dude, it's not like that. And I think it's obviously like the current situation that we live in, you know, how expensive everything is now, how you know, minimum wage hasn't gone up. Everything's inflating, but people are making less money. Rent's going up. Landlords are losing their goddamn minds. Politicians are losing their goddamn minds. And yeah, I don't know. I saw someone on TikTok that had mentioned that they went to a job interview and they asked that person, like, what do they see for their future in the next like 5 years? Then I thought to myself, like, you know how privileged you have to think the amount of privilege you must think you have to look so far into the future with how your current present is going. Like, dude, we live with the imminent threat of like climate change, and you live. I've mentioned this here before. You live with a cloud over your head. It's you know, you live with the threat of sickness and death and accidents and unfortunate events looming over your goddamn head there all the time. And sometimes it'll spit a little bit, and sometimes it'll fucking pour all over you, and everything seems to be going wrong. And then above all that, and yeah, it's how can you even think about 5 years from now? A year from now seems like, you know, anything can happen. Also, kind of the fact that we're not immortal, so you also have that as well, and anything can happen to you at any given time. I don't know, man. Again, growing old is weird. You start thinking about all these things, which then makes you put things on a balance, and you start figuring out like what matters. If I can tell you one thing about the current situation, is it definitely makes you think, well, like, what holds weight in your life? What's worth it? I don't even know anymore. Is it really worth spending your whole life like just like working your ass off, but you live like under this constant threat of losing everything. I don't know, man. I admire people that have like that drive, dude. If you're one of those people and you're watching me, dude, I admire you. Because wow, sometimes it's hard to have that drive here. It's hard to have that willingness to, you know, want to do things, because it kind of just seems like the more you do, like the more problems you have, the more, like, anytime there's like a step taken forward towards the improvement of people in general, there's like 2 steps back that you have to take because of everything that happens around you. I don't know, man. I don't even know what progress is anymore. Whatever. Nonetheless, I'm gonna read this because this seems pretty fucking interesting, and it is something that I am again experiencing myself. It's crazy. You start giving less fucks day by day. I can tell you this: the amount of fucks I used to give when I was 20 is way more than the ones that I've given in my 30s, and by the looks of things, I'm expected to give less fucks in my 40s. Because if there's one thing about getting old, is that you don't give a fuck anymore. That's it. You've already lived enough to understand things, and you kind of, you know how to work your way around stuff. My parents don't give a fuck. My mother, she doesn't give a fuck. She'll say whatever comes up to her head, and she doesn't care if she insults you. She doesn't care if she talks good to you. She just expresses her mind completely, and that is something to look forward to. Not giving a fuck. Alright, so this says, yes, your brain will probably experience a great restructuring after you turn 40. This was written by Dr. Nish Manek, published yesterday, June 5th, 2023. It says, out with the old, in with the... Wait, what was I talking about? Okay, I see. We know that the brain undergoes significant structural, functional, and metabolic changes with age, with associated alterations in cognition and behavior. A systemic review was recently published in the journal Psychophysiology, in which researchers from Australia looked at 144 studies and summarized how the connectivity of the human brain changes over our lifetimes. They found that after the age of 40, the brain starts to undergo a rewiring that results in diverse networks becoming more integrated and connected. They suggest that this results in less flexible thinking, lower response inhibition, and reduced verbal and numeric reasoning. While this may be compelling, it is worth noting that these types of studies are based on results from an imaging technique called functional MRI. These allow neuroscientists to observe the parts of subjects' brains that light up in response to stimuli or when simply at rest. However, we can't really be sure that these are responsible for the changes in cognition that we see at the time. There might be a link, but it is difficult to prove. Looking at the data from the study, the restructuring is fairly gradual, not a dramatic step change each decade as might be suggested. So maybe there is not a great restructuring, and we don't know exactly how this translates to cognition. But this review adds weight to the finding that there are changes in the brain that occur with aging. I mean, I understand that. You obviously don't need to remind me of it. Woo! Is there like kind of like a short summary of this? Holy cannoli, this is long. This is an actual... Yeah. It's from onlinelibrary.wiley.com. It's the older adult brain is less modular, more integrated, and less efficient at rest. A systematic review of large-scale resting state functional brain networks in aging. We're gonna be a weird set of old people. I can tell you that much. We're gonna be old people playing video. I mean, if we are lucky enough as a society, as a species, to make it to old age. A, and B, if the planet allows us to reach that age, because it doesn't look like the planet's very happy with us. So just want to throw that out there. Let's see. All right, these are all podcasts. Okay, this is same website, sciencefocus.com. It says, Bugs on the Brink. Why Insects Could Be Disappearing from Your Garden This Year, by Adam Hart, published today, June 6th, 2023. Notice there's so many spiders around here. It's insane. I don't understand where they come from. I mean, you name a size and the color of a spider, and I've seen it in my backyard or in like around the area, because it's a lot of like forest area around here. Like, you name it, it's crazy. There was one year that I actually had to let management know in the front, because they just like, I don't know what happened. There was spider webs everywhere, and really thick ones too. It's crazy. I left for the day, and I don't know, they ended up like calling those bug companies and whatnot. I guess they sprayed it down, but they're slowly creeping back up, and I can tell, because obviously there's a lot more spider webs outside than there were a year ago, which is crazy to even think about it. But into this. Notice fewer creepy crawlies in your backyard this spring. It's not just you. Insects across the globe may be dying out. Here's why. I wonder why. Across social media this year, there has been a sense of general dismay over the state of insects during the late spring, with many naturalists and entomologists noting that there seem to be fewer around. So what exactly is happening with insect life? Are there actually fewer critters in our gardens this year? And what could this mean for the wider ecosystem? It says, what is the current state of insect life? The sad fact is that we simply don't know. We have a serious lack of data on long-term trends in insect populations worldwide. And, given the huge number of species, some estimate as high as 10 million, is perhaps unsurprising. However, over the past few years, numerous studies have emerged that have tended to point in the same general downward direction. Of those insects we know much about, some are doing okay, but there are declines in well-known groups across the board, including butterflies, moths, dragonflies, some beetles, and many bee species. I read recently, I think, was it the monarch butterfly that was, I think, recently saved, I believe. Okay, so it's a project that works to boost monarch population because they're in decline. See? Okay, so this is from Fox 13, Salt Lake City. It says, monarch butterflies face delay in migration due to cold, wet winter conditions. It says, butterfly enthusiasts are patiently waiting for monarch butterflies to arrive in Utah after their migration was delayed due to cold and wet winter conditions. It says, the adult butterflies need nectar sources, explained Tyler Wilson, a research scientist at Young Living Essential Oils. I hope that's like a name for something else. He just wanted to come up with a great name for their lab or some shit like that. But I mean, yeah, you lost me there with the Young Living Essential Oils, but whatever. Those caterpillars need the milkweed. It has taken a lot of plants a bit longer to germinate, including milkweed, so the migration does appear to be a bit slower. It says, Wilson gave Fox 13 News a tour of Young Living's Monarch Butterfly Way Station located in Lehigh. The company also has a larger facility in Mona that will help butterflies on their journeys. This is all in Utah. Check out this video real quick. Yes. It seems summertime and the living's easy for, I guess, all the kids that live around here, because I can hear them all. So that probably means that they're all on their school break. Do y'all remember summer? Man. Once you become an adult and you start adulting, summer becomes completely inconsequential. The meaning that it had when growing up and that you would take like summer vacation has no purpose at all, because you work during the summer. You don't give a shit. It's hot and it's like grimy and sticky, and depending on where you are, it gets like really humid, or like, you know, whatever the case may be, depending on where you live. Here it just gets like really hot, extremely hot. And, you know, it's kind of hard sometimes to want to go out and do things. It's just so fucking hot. Yet when you're young, you could enjoy it because it was summer. You don't have anything to do. But once you pass like 18 and you start like, well, you know, I'll give college that. Maybe some colleges they'll like, I guess, keep you during summer, but you'll have some time off at some point. But once you pass that and you get into the actual adulting of your life and you're working, what is it, like 350 days of the year? Well, you know, give or take, obviously you have like days off and whatnot, but you understand what I'm saying. I didn't mention the last 2 weeks because you probably take like PTO or vacation time, you know, to take vacation if you do, but that's it. You don't get 2 or 3 months anymore. You don't get that unless you win the lottery or some shit like that. But in a general sense, you don't get summer anymore like that. So it means nothing. It sucks because once why can't it be the same? Like, why can't summer be like the time where even as an adult you want to go out and have fun, but you're working? So it means nothing. It is any other season. Hell, the older you get, Christmas and winter starts making a lot more sense than summer, because at least it gives you something to want to, like, gives you a reason to celebrate and shit. But summer doesn't really give you that, besides here in the States, like July 4th, but there isn't really anything else. So, yeah. No, that's just my 2 cents on it. Let's watch this quick video on the monarch butterfly. I'll finish reading this article and then your boy's heading out because I want to start cooking early today.
An insect critical to pollinating is making its annual journey to Utah. The monarch butterfly is as essential to the ecosystem as it is beautiful to the eyes.
Good day, Utah news anchor John Franke is in Utah County to show us what's being done to help this wonder of nature thrive.
This is a milkweed plant. There are dozens of these here at the headquarters of Young Living in Lehigh, and this plant is essential as monarch butterflies migrate during the spring.
Wow, you know.
I'm removing all of the potting soil. This is a thyme plant, and plants will do better if they are planted in the native soil.
When you work with nature, you learn to be patient. Emma Zebarth is a research scientist at Young Living. She's helped dozens of these milkweed plants thrive at the facility's Butterfly Way Station.
The way station acts as a resting place for monarch butterflies to lay their eggs and for their caterpillars to change into butterflies.
Now is when that patience comes into play.
There's nothing much I have to do. The milkweed is planted, it's starting to come up. You know, nature kind of just takes its Of course.
This year, the monarch's arrival on its migration from Southern California to Utah is delayed, an impact of the West's extreme winter.
The adult butterflies, they need nectar sources, and then those caterpillars, they need the milkweed. It has taken a lot of plants a bit longer to germinate, including milkweed, and so that migration does appear to be a bit slower going north.
The butterflies should begin arriving by the middle of this month, and when they do,
It's just miraculous that they can find us.
they'll find milkweed here, just to the east of Interstate 15, placed to lay eggs, producing another generation
that's
of
beautiful.
these colorful insects.
And once the egg is actually laid, to it hatching and there being a caterpillar, the milling, the chrysalis, we're talking weeks.
Tyler Wilson is a senior research scientist concerned for the monarch's future, heralded by what he says is humans' treatment of the environment.
They definitely are at risk, and largely because of the way that we live. A lot of the herbicides, pesticides that we use, we're also destroying a lot of their habitat.
Data collected by the Western Monarch Count shows how the population has fluctuated and declined over the last quarter century. In 1997, more than 1.2 million Western monarchs were counted. That number dropped to about 58,000 in 2009 and less than 28,000 in 2018. Last year, the population grew to roughly
Hey, Bowser.
335,000.
How you doing?
The goal of waste.
Hope you're doing well, my dude. Thank you so much for stopping by. Lots of love towards you. Hope everything's going great. Haven't seen your name here in a very long time. Holy crap. Yeah, Twitch exists. Hope you're doing well, my dude.
Like this is to help the population grow.
I love, coming up with a plan in my head and seeing it in real life.
Work that will lead to seeing more of these precious contributors in Utah's ecosystem.
I just don't want to see them go away. I'd like to see my kids be able to enjoy those pollinators just as much as I did.
And you too can help the monarch butterfly on its
I've always wanted to go to
migration
Utah.
by planting just a simple plant like this in your own backyard. In Lehigh, John Franke, Fox 13 News, Utah.
It's crazy how I actually started understanding a lot more about pesticides obviously, growing up, I understood that it was used in growing crops and whatnot, but I started understanding a lot more when I got more into cannabis and the amount of just pesticides that cultivators used to use in cannabis that then led me into understanding a lot more all these different things that they put into plants and stuff to try to make them grow and shit. Man, the amount of chemicals that is used in those said pesticides is insane. I'll give you an example. There's one that's called, it's specifically for cannabis. It's called, what is it, Eagle 22, Eagle 21, something like that. And it's really, really bad. And dude, that's what people used to use back in the day to grow weed. Let me see if I can find, I'll probably, what is it? Is it Eagle 22? There we go. Okay, so pesticide tainted cannabis pulled from shelves of 5 Vermont stores. Let's see. Okay, but this is from 2015. But pot entrepreneurs has a very big problem. Pesticides. Okay, so again, this is from 2015, but just so that you can kind of understand the level of how bad that specific pesticide is. This is from CNBC.com. It's a we don't say the M word here. So cannabis industry could be uprooted by pesticide lawsuit. If you don't know why, just really quickly, that is an extremely racist name that was given to cannabis in order to further propagate the idea that Mexicans and black people were consuming cannabis to try to sleep with white women and a whole bunch of things. So that we don't say the M word here on the King Angel Show. So cannabis. Who the fuck is this? Cannabis industry could be uprooted by pesticide lawsuit. This was written by Sarah Witten. Again, this is from 2015. It was published October 15th, 2015. So it says, the cannabis industry may be booming in Colorado, but pot entrepreneurs face a very big problem: pesticides. 2 cannabis users, including a cancer patient, filed a lawsuit last week against a cannabis business that they claimed used an unhealthy pesticide to grow its weed. The pesticide in question is, Eagle 20. So Eagle 20, a fungicide often used on grapes and hops. So yeah, it's not only used on cannabis. Okay, the chemicals used to stave off mites, mildew, and other pests could also be harmful to humans when used on a product that is later burnt for inhalation. Ergo, cannabis. A beautiful joint or a blunt. So Eagle 20 in particular contains a chemical called mycloblutenol that produces toxic hydrogen cyanide gas when burned. I'm going to repeat that one more time for the people in the back. Produces toxic hydrogen cyanide gas when burned. There's still people that use this shit. There's lots of more towards like the black market that they straight up still use this chemical when growing cannabis. We just literally toxic hydrogen cyanide gas. Cyanide is poisonous. So, yeah. And you're turning that blunt on or that joint and you're literally just smoking mycloblutenol going straight into your lungs and you're literally just poisoning yourself while thinking that you are smoking cannabis for a positive reason, which is one of the reasons, obviously, one of the reasons why I defend the legal route of cannabis, because you are able to not have this happen, I guess. Like, you don't have, it's not that people, they don't use it, but there's so many tests that have to be done before cannabis can reach dispensaries that, you know, they test for all these things, and I know for a fact that mycloblutenol is one of the ones that's tested, and yeah, they have to, it has to be grown in a certain way for it to be able to be sold in dispensaries, so it would only make sense. I mean, you don't buy your Advil from the black market, you get me? From someone that's making it homemade, so it's kind of the same thing. Albeit, it does have to be better regulated, and state governments and the federal government in general has not done a very good job at all when it comes to cannabis. Especially here in California, it started out great, and it just went down the shitter here. So that's the current state that we are. But again, it's Eagle 20, and this is what what happens when it's burned. So the lawsuit alleges that LiveWell, a pot company in Denver, should be penalized for using a pesticide that was not listed by the state as safe for use on cannabis. The state of Colorado lists pesticides that are approved for use on food and tobacco crops, but it doesn't specifically outlaw Eagle 20 and other pesticides. It says that we believe that the people behind this effort do not want the commercial cannabis industry to succeed, and that LiveWell was targeted because of its success. You know, that's actually one of the things that I think, not this specifically, but I think that lobbyists for Philip Morris, tobacco companies, have worked really hard to make it so that the sale of cannabis is not only taxed exorbitantly, but getting licenses to be able to cultivate, manufacture, distribute the actual product. They not only charge you an arm and a leg, but it's extremely difficult to get. So, yeah, I'm convinced that they have intentionally made it difficult for people to acquire these things because, you know, they don't want cigarettes to get to go out of style. And let me tell you something. As someone that used to smoke a ton of cigarettes, I was addicted to cigarettes for a very big portion of my life. I hope it does happen, and I hope cigarettes become a thing of the past at some point, and people move on from that, even if it's replaced by cannabis. But they move on from like nicotine and whatnot. It's about time. But yeah, again, this is the chemical mycloblutenol, and it's found in Eagle 20 that so many people smoke. I can safely say that I did as well. And if you smoke, you probably smoked cannabis with if you started smoking weed before 2015, you probably smoked some joints or did some bong rips, and yeah, that probably had a whole bunch of pesticides in it. Yikes. All right, so that was it for the monarch butterfly, which sucks that it's going in decline. I also saw recently there's a bee species that's going in decline as well, and once bee species start going in decline, as human beings, we need to start questioning what the hell we're doing. Like, what's happening? How are we creating steps to be able to fix that problem? Because let me tell you something, bees are so important to our ecosystem that if that goes down, we might as well just call it quits. Seriously. Okay, so one survey that monitored insect splatter on car registration plates in Great Britain suggested that the number of flying insects has plunged by almost 60% from 2004 to 2021. That is an extremely interesting way of gathering data and information. Declines can be measured in drops in abundance and in biomass of the weight of insects, diversity, which is the number of species present, or combinations of these. To work out just how rapidly these species are declining requires long-term studies around the world and many more people studying insects. However, both are in far shorter supply than we would like. Is this only the beginning of a larger scale decline? Possibly, but we cannot currently say this with any sense of certainty. Many entomologists currently suggest that the very hot and dry summer last year may be affecting insects, and this is certainly a good working hypothesis. I also read that there were some countries last year that broke records when it came to the how hot it was, and that actually affected coral reefs. It's a whole bunch of coral reefs that ended up dying off because of the sudden change of temperature in the water. So it was no longer fresh water. It became hot, and yeah, they ended up dying off. I'm telling you, man, people don't want to admit it. They want to live in the bubble, but we as human beings, we've caused irreparable damage to the world that I don't know what the hell we're gonna do to be able to make it work, because I said it before, it's pretty obvious the planet doesn't want us here. Also, we've as a species have done nothing but ruin this beautiful planet. I mean, we saw Mars. Y'all really want to live at Mars? That'd be my guest. I like it here. Planet Earth, it's cozy here. It's nice. It's very nice. I really like it here. I don't want to go. So I'm going to do everything possible to try to put my 2 cents into this and, be a force for good when it comes to the environment and sustainability and whatnot, because I don't want to live in Mars, man. I don't want to. I like it here. It's so nice, dude. It's so nice. As if we have somewhere else to go. Listen, on the flip side, though, some are reporting normal insect numbers in some parts of the country. To find out for sure what is happening this year, we will need to wait for the combined data from long-term studies. What we do know is that we are still degrading the natural world in many places, sometimes seriously so. We can also say that, despite some improvements and success stories, the overall picture is not positive whether we are looking at insects, mammals, birds, fish, plants, and most other groups of living things. It says, however, we have proved to be very good at reversing declines when we decide we want to. Tigers, for example, have rebounded in India and Nepal, doubling their numbers. So what is causing the decline in insects? It says, insects are extraordinarily diverse and live in a remarkable range of different habitats. It's not surprising, then, that there are different patterns and different causes of those patterns for various insect groups across the world. But we can nonetheless make some generalizations. So it says, one of them is habitat loss and degradation through human expansion and agricultural intensification are big players. Water and soil pollution are important factors, and the use of pesticides can also impact some insects greatly. I mentioned it here before, we have the Barrett Gold in Dominican Republic. Huge polluters. We had a very beautiful river that is now completely destroyed, useless, red. because of all the chemicals that have been dumped into it. You obviously can't bathe or drink that water. All the fishes that were there, they died. They all died off. And it's all because of capitalism. And they're still there. And they're still polluting. And it's been like 10, 15 years now to this point. Nobody gives a shit anymore. Mind you, Barrick Gold is the same company that thought it would have been a great idea to... Listen to this. Grab an ice cap. I think this was in Chile or Peru. It was either Chile, Peru, or Panama. One of those three. Grab an ice cap from a mountain with a huge helicopter. Move the ice cap and start digging for gold. And then once they did what they did, they were going to put the ice cap back. That was the logic that they actually put on pamphlets that they were giving out to people. That's how they were trying to get the citizens around. But this was, again, not in Dominican Republic. It was one of those three countries that I mentioned. That's how they were trying to get people to sign off to it. That they were going to take the ice cap off the mountain with a helicopter, put it somewhere else, dig into gold, do what they were going to do, mine all that gold, and then they were going to lift the ice cap and put it back in its place. It's real smart thinking there. But listen to this. Climate change can be more complex because some species can benefit from a warming climate and the rising levels of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. But on balanced climate, it's looking like bad news for bugs. One of the reasons could be that plants exposed to more carbon dioxide have lower nutritional values, which could harm insect diets. Worryingly, one 2021 US study concluded that the grasshopper population in Kansas was dropping 2% each year due to starvation caused by climate change. Damn, not even the grasshoppers can survive. Some research also indicates that warmer weather could make plants simply less appealing to insects. For instance, one French study found rosemary plants that received 30% less rainfall than normal emitted a subtle scent which actually deterred domesticated bees. So they don't even want it. Like, there's nothing here for us. However, climate change or not, be in no doubt that whatever the causes of the decline, we are to blame. So why is insect life so important for the ecosystem, and what effect is the decline having? So insects are like ecological glue, binding the natural world together. They are found in almost all terrestrial ecosystems, often in high numbers, and are involved in virtually every important ecological interaction. Fucking everywhere. They are predators and prey, parasites, decomposers, nutrient cyclers, pollinators, seed dispersers, soil aerators, and more. When we start picking away at this ecological glue, we risk damaging or even destroying the whole structure. Which is why I mentioned beforehand that if the bee population starts declining, we're in serious trouble. And it's happening. So yeah, that's definitely something human beings need to keep in mind because, like I mentioned before, bees are extremely important for our ecosystem, and a lot of the flowers that we love to see and love to smell, and we love to give to our loved ones and stuff. Yeah, thank a bee for that. So if they are no mas, then we might as well be no mas as well. And that's just keeping it at like a base level thing. There's actual data, scientific data, explaining a lot better what the consequences of a decline in the bee population could do to human beings. I'm being a smart ass about it. But there is like plenty of explanations that go really deep into the effect that would have. And there's like specific insects and animals that if that happens, it would have a ripple effect on us humans that we wouldn't be able to get back from. So, when we start in some cases, as with pollinators in some studies, we are seeing other species picking up the slack. So, whilst we see a reduction in biodiversity, we don't always see a reduction in function. Just how long a system can tolerate this kind of pressure is far from clear. Ultimately, it would be very unwise to assume we can keep getting away with the stresses we are placing on the natural world. The notion that all insects will disappear is far-fetched. I don't know if you guys remember Wall-E, the cockroach is the only living being that makes it. So I guess that would kind of answer this person's question. I mean, not a question, but would be something to add to what this person just said. But the idea that we may end up with hugely depleted ecosystems that are unable to provide the services we need, like pollination and nutrient cycling, seems far less far-fetched now than it did 20 years ago. So, is there any way to combat the decline? Let's see. The reality is that we need to save their habitats, the places where nature can thrive. Kind of hard to do that under a capitalist society when those same companies and corporations go out of their way to, well, for example, just kind of just throwing it out there. Cutting down trees from the Amazon. Oil spills that have happened countless times. There was one that happened like 2 weeks ago or some shit like that. Barely reported in the news. Barely. An oil spill. Yeah, I mean, do you guys remember the one that happened with, what was it, Exxon a few years ago? Happened in Louisiana. All those animals, not a peep. Nothing ever happens from that point. I think they were sued, but nothing happens after that. Because we obviously live under capitalist rule, and they don't give a shit about that. You really think they give a shit about saving the habitat of insects and animals? We put animals in zoos. Drug dealers buy exotic animals. What chance do they have of surviving? Come on. You didn't think about that one, huh? Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty harsh reality we live in. We put them in zoos so that we put them in zoos, and we put them in these fake aquariums like SeaWorld, and then we charge people money to go see them. A captive animal that's supposed to be wild. It's supposed to be in the wild, in the free, living its life. We already took its land. We take their homes. We incarcerate them. That's what a zoo is. Let's be real. Yeah, some of them treat them pretty good and whatnot, but yeah, I gotta keep it 100. It is still, it's you're imprisoning an animal. Because if we do it to human beings, that's what we call it, right? We call it prison. It's jail. But if it's animals, we call it a zoo. I don't know, man. It's these type of articles that it just makes me lose all faith in what we as human beings could one day be able to achieve. Because, again, we take 2 steps forward and we take like 10 steps back, or other people force us into having to take these 10 steps back because of the decisions that they make or their lack of care for things. Like, bro, you're only here for a certain amount of time. The planet's gonna stay here. And I've said it before, I'll say it again, the planet doesn't need us humans. It thrives very well without us. Hell, it thrives even better without us here. So I don't know why there's so many people that think the way they think. Talking to me about Mars. We can barely take care of of the planet that we're in right now. Let alone you want to move to another planet to do the same thing. Okay. Our towns and cities should be shared with biodiverse green spaces, interconnected with corridors and dotted with ponds, tree stands, and other features that support nature. Our agricultural practices need to change, allowing food production and nature to coexist. We also need to make use of technological advances that allow us to produce more food from less land, giving more space for nature. We can do these things, but we have to decide that we want to do them at a societal level. The declines we're seeing in the natural world are a sure sign that it's time to grow up. Ah, I see what they did there. I see what you did there. You know, it's illegal to accumulate rainwater in some states here in the United States. Like, rainwater. You have to pay to have solar panels. I mean, you have to pay a fee. It's not free. You have to buy the solar panel, but then you have to pay to be able to use it. Even though you're supposed to, the whole point is having to pay electricity because you have a solar panel, but you still have to pay the government. We sell water bottles. You really think that there are human beings that are going to go out of their way to, we don't even help ourselves as human beings. How the fuck do you think that people are going to go? There's going to be people that are going to help animals. We just have to look at the current state of the world. Look at what we do to each other as human beings. Why we do this to animals and insects. It shouldn't come as a surprise. It's insane. The amount of damage that we as human beings have done to this earth it's crazy. And it doesn't seem like it's going to stop. It seems like this is going to be a recurring thing, and it's just going to keep getting worse and worse. Because as long as we live under this capitalist rule where corporations get to make all these decisions and whatnot, we're not going to get anywhere. It's going to get worse and worse. They don't give a shit about us. Come on now. But nonetheless, this was wonderful. I appreciate everyone stopping by. It's Lethal TV. Bowser, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. You guys rock. Bowser, long time no see. That's what's up. You're my dude. Yeah. Earth doesn't need us. It does not. It does not. No one can convince me contrary. I'm dug in. And I'm not going to change. Jesus Christ. Whatever. It's disappointing. It's extremely disappointing if you really think about it. The state of affairs of the world and just how fucked up it is. Very disappointing. But whatever. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another. Tomorrow's Wednesday. We'll do another Coffee, the News, and Us. We'll read some more articles, watch more videos, reviews, live streams, discussions. That's what we do here at the King Angel Show. You know where to find me all across social media. Oh, other side. Bam. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Watch my videos. I have a whole bunch of playlists there. Whole bunch of videos. It's like 300 and some odd videos there. All for your enjoyment. You have a mix of live streams. You have a mix of review videos, discussions, a little bit of everything. If you want to further support me, you can use your Twitch Prime here on your Amazon Prime here on Twitch. I don't even remember how much it is with Amazon Prime, but whatever it is, that would greatly help me. You can also just follow me here on Twitch. It'll notify you when I go live. That's always cool. You can stop by, engage, say hi, listen to my nasally falsetto voice, ranting and reading about things that happen in this beautiful, beautiful planet. It's the only one we have. It's the only one we have. Just saying. Join the Discord, King Angels Entertainment Lounge. We watch movies, album listens, concerts, a little bit of everything, TV shows, space, science, documentaries, debates, arguments. If you're a millennial, late Gen Zer, early Gen Xer, let's not exaggerate. No, I'm just kidding. It's Gen X. You guys are all welcome into the King Angels Entertainment Lounge. It's free. But last but not least, if you want to further support me even more, you want to join my community, that's Patreon for you. It's $2 a month. You get a whole bunch of benefits. Audio versions of episodes specifically for Random Topic Day. Full unedited episodes. You get private Discord channels. There's it's just so many benefits. You can find all that information either in the description box of this live stream or in the about section if you're watching me on Twitch. You can also scan this QR code right here if you're watching me on a computer. That'll take you to my link tree. That has all of my links there, social media, where you can see me live. My blog is there as well, so check it out. Let me know what you think. And that's about it for today. This is King Angel Show. I'm King Angel, a San Francisco Bay Area live streamer and content creator here on YouTube and Twitch and Facebook. You guys have a very wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow, Wednesday, for another Coffee, the News, and Us. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for stopping by, and peace.